Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining Suzie and I once again on Decipher You. I'm Elizabeth Voss, Editor-in-Chief of Disobedient Media, and I'm so glad to be with Suzie Dawson, who is a journalist, activist, and current leader of the Internet Party of New Zealand. And we're so psyched to get into some Snowden files this evening and see what we can find. And thank you all for waiting up on us and joining us and retweeting us. We appreciate all of the help and support you guys throw at us on social media. It's really, really appreciated. So thank you.
Hey, you guys. Just unmute myself. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Really happy to be here. Sorry we missed Tuesday. I had a full week of interviews and other stuff going on, which some of you will have seen. I think we're good to go straight into it. So yeah. I'll go ahead and screen share and we'll get into the first docs.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we're up to here. Inside the customer decision space, we did that.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Vintage
yeah.
Harvest, not just grapes anymore.
I don't remember that one. If we looked at it, we may have, if we looked at it, then we skipped it.
Okay. Vintage Harvest, it's not just grapes anymore, from the Chief of the Knowledge Management Branch. The first question you may ask yourself is, what is Vintage Harvest? Vintage Harvest is a worldwide web-based system linking a Signal parametric database, Signal reports and working aids, processing scripts, programs, and Signal bit samples. Vintage Harvest is the successor of the Signal Information Processing System database. It is available by NSA and Interlink. It is one of the most widely used tools for signals analysis in the intelligence community, allows the storage and retrieval of parameters, operating characteristics, and structural details of communication signals, so it's super technical. The goal of Vintage Harvest is to assist analysts in identifying and tracking known and unknown signals.
That's very broad.
Yeah, it has the following capabilities: storage of signal descriptions and related parametric information, the uploading of sample files and reports relating to a signal, connection to external systems that contain related information such as targets, satellites, or proforma data, tracking of metrics used by management for decision making. It is going through major changes. I'll just have a quick skim through this. Okay, so it's just enhanced technical capabilities. So I think we can skip that. I don't see anything there that is particularly interesting to us or helpful to us. So we'll move on. Letter to the editor, new collection access yields spectacular intel from Sigint Communications. Top secret, senior technical advisor. The relevance of this article. Oh, okay, so this is actually feedback as response to a previous document, a previous email.
Okay.
Okay, so really it's just some self-congratulatory stuff. Next one, new tactical collection system joins the war on terror, from the technical advisor of target reconnaissance and survey. What resembles Little Boy, one of the atomic bombs dropped on Japan during World War II, and as Little Boy did, represents the dawn of a new era, at least in SIGINT and precision geolocation. And here we are, we've got drone reference right now. If you answered a pod mounted on an unmanned aerial vehicle that is currently flying missions in support of the global war on terrorism, you would be correct. Very interesting. Distant focus is a new capability that allows remote operators, i.e. drone pilots, situated in the headquarters building at NSAW to dynamically tune receivers and receive both real-time audio as well as geolocation information. The operators are members of the Air Force's 94th Intelligence Squadron. Distant focus development has been a combined effort of SID's Office of Target Reconnaissance and Survey. So there we go. Now we know the division that is actually responsible for working on drone surveillance.
I think that's really interesting.
And a security cleared small business contractor located in Maryland. Additionally, a partnership with NASA Goddard Greenbelt was established for altitude testing to ensure operational success at 24,000 feet. The system is one of 4 that are being built as a quick reaction capability to enable tactical exploitation of signals, as well as providing precision geolocation results so that appropriate action can be taken. Top secret, distant focus uses commercial off-the-shelf receivers. That's alarming. And direction finding hardware and software on a single UAV to provide our tactical customers with real-time intercept and location information. The system is contained within a 6-foot-long pod that is 16 inches in diameter. The pod mounts on a Predator drone's Hellfire pylon wing and weighs 136 pounds. Distant focus receivers cover the 2 megahertz to 3 gigahertz frequency range and offer varying geolocation precision. At the low frequency ranges, it is accurate within 500 meters, and at higher frequencies under 100 meters. Distant focus has been flying in the CENTCOM AOR since December 5th, 2004, and quickly generated one product report and over 76 Klieg lights and 25 geos. Part of distant focus's success has been based on another OTRS effort, the air handler communications link between the Predator and NSAW. This link utilizes a portion of the Predator's video bandwidth, encrypts it, and sends command and control, as well as voice data from the Predator back to NSAW and GRSOC. The Information Assurance Directorate provided tactical encryption, which enables the link to be secure, yet will have minimal impact if the equipment is captured.
Wow, okay. Interesting.
So what this is the first evidence that NSA is intimately involved. Let's take this off share for a second. The NSA is intimately involved in drone operations.
Yeah.
So the only reference that we'd seen to drones in the NSA documents before this was a passing reference to the fact that they exist as a new technology.
Yeah.
But what this is telling us is that NSA is directly involved in drone surveillance. They go so far as to include the name of their division, which is supporting the missions. So I would consider this significant contextual information for that reason. And also that they appear to be involved in the development of both hardware and software related to drone use.
Definitely. And the fact that it's changed that much since the last reference we saw is interesting to me too. That much change has happened within that relatively short period of time. So
yeah, and they've given us the direct date as well, where they say December 2004.
Okay, yeah.
December 5th, 2004. So I would consider that to mark like a significant change for the agency.
Definitely. It's a milestone that we should definitely keep track of for sure.
Okay, I'm just going to make a note of that document.
Sure, I'll check chat while you're doing that.
Cool.
So I see Fly, Fly shared my Steemit and your Steemit. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Fly. That's really helpful. Yeah, just everybody saying hi so far. I'm just scrolling up at the moment. And also, Fly opened the Etherpad for us in chat. That's so helpful. Thank you. You guys are true saints. All of you wonderful individuals that stay in chat every single time we stream, and you help out, and you don't get any sort of personal gain from that. You're just wonderful, wonderful people, and we really seriously appreciate all of your efforts a lot. So yeah, but I see a couple of YouTube links. Yeah, and I think it's in reference to Decipher you. You guys have had an amazing chat already this evening.
We have such a great crew. We're really, really...
Yeah. I'm just blown away at how much they've already been speaking already, But I see Matt's with us. That's awesome. Hi, Crocker, too. Good to see you as well. So, yeah. No specific info about the documents that we just looked at, but definitely a lively group of people with us this evening. So, good to see.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one.
Sounds good.
Dare I ask, from unknown, or from SIGINT Communications for unknown? Okay, this doesn't look very interesting. Oh, rumint. Rumint. Like rumors intelligence.
Is that a thing? Is that real?
But apparently it's a thing. Get the correct answers, not rumint or hearsay or what you heard from someone who heard it from somebody else.
That's hilarious.
Rumint. I'm going to have to use that.
Definitely.
Next time somebody tells me some like crazy conspiracy theory about me, I'm going to be like, that is rumint.
Take a rumor. We have none of that here. None of that in this house.
Okay, this is just talking about how they can ask questions or supply answers. Yeah, the most interesting part of that document to me is the term rumint.
Yeah.
Rumor intelligence. Very cute. Okay, next, video to your desktop. New reports on target countries are available at your desktop. Advanced Intelligence Research Services, NSA's agent for non-SIGINT information acquisitions and management, brings a new capability to you, video at your desktop. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then one that moves could be worth 1,000,000. Every day, more and more information is being provided solely in video. The likelihood of this video containing information to confirm, clarify, or enhance the SIGINT fact is clearly too great to ignore. Although as time-sensitive information support branch initially developed this capability to support NSOC, we realized it would also be valuable. Oh God, now I've got a frog in my throat. Hold on.
I've had the same thing all day. It must be a winter thing in general.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, video provides, we realized it would also be valuable to product line analysts as well as other agency customers. Video provides up-to-date news on target countries and subjects. It can be used in voice identification as well as to provide tip-offs to SIGINT indications about events. In addition, foreign language video news broadcasts can be used by linguists, enabling them to stay proficient in their foreign language and stay abreast of news airing in the foreign country. So how do you get this resource into your arsenal? Your arsenal. So they're talking
I love my language.
Software. They're talking about software as an arsenal. The TSIS publishes a daily video news summary, which describes the most recent news segments on our website. These descriptions are linked with the video footage so that you can view the actual video at your desktop. To get started, go to blah, blah, blah. Select the news story of interest by clicking blah, blah, blah. Oh God. Although TSIS resides and sit as part of analysts and production, our charter is corporate. And we serve not only the Signals Intelligence Directorate, but also the entire agency. We provide video to the Office of Public Affairs, NSOC Senior Operations Officer, and SID Cryptologic and Securities team whenever NSA or any reference to cryptologic information disclosures is mentioned in the news. So they're monitoring any news about themselves. Information from these videos is then used to brief the director and agency seniors. The Information Assurance Directorate, the Research and Development Directorate, the National Cryptologic School, and Security are also some of our major users.
Interesting. I mean, I think I would have guessed that the cryptological schools would have been interested in that type of thing, but it's still good to know.
They have a site in Syria.
Oh, really? Interesting.
2005, 20th of the 1st of 2005. Elizabeth, can I get you to go through that one? And I'm just going to grab a drink and clear my throat.
Sure, not a problem at all. So I'll just read what's on the page, and if you're here to scroll, then great, and if not, fine. The first paragraph is obviously secret, and it says the First Instance Reporting Working Group, or FIRWG, fondly known to its S1, S2, and SCS members as the FIRWG, is pleased to announce the publication of the first SCS First Instance Report issued by the SCS site in Damascus on 6th of January 2005. Cross-SID teaming with the Special Collection Service allowed this transformational breakthrough to occur in just over 6 months from the inception of the idea to the issuance of the first reports. In Durgram 385, the director praised SCS as a model expeditionary SIGINT force, a group of dedicated, multidisciplined professionals globally deployed in the intelligence community, customers, information, and physical space. First instance reporting harnesses this valuable resource. What does the transition to first instance reporting mean to IC customers? It means customers will have access to intelligence earlier in the analysis stream, which customers have clamored for. It means that customers will immediately be able to use the first instance information in follow-on activities such as briefings, summaries, and assessments. The Iraq IMT characterizes it this way. There is, quote, "There's just too much demand, too much information, too much urgency to not do FIRs." And then the next, all of these paragraphs so far, I believe, are secret. And it says, but what about me, the NSA analyst? What does the transition to first instance reporting mean to me? It means that customers will receive first instance reports directly, eliminating the need to turn around local support reports, or LSRs, into end-to-end reports. In fact, FIRs are end product reports. FIRs can be cited in any end product report that contains amplifying information, thus avoiding circular reporting. This initiative also opens opportunities for developing relationships with our SCS partners whose skill and expertise, not to mention their 24/7 presence worldwide, can be leveraged to provide round-the-clock, round-the-globe SIGINT reporting to customers. The first phase of FIR reporting is occurring right now in the Iraq theater. SCS sites in Damascus, Kuwait City, and Baghdad are currently issuing FIRs. Mosul is set to come online next. The remaining SCS sites will be phased in over the coming weeks and months, and preparations are taking place to begin first instance reporting at sites in Tbilisi, Baku, Bangkok, and Rangoon. To view the implementation schedule, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. That's the end of the article. But I thought it was interesting that it mentioned customers so much. And again, like, this is how many times have we seen them cutting out the middleman and trying to get customers direct access to the information? It's definitely a trend. But yeah, I think that's really, really interesting. And I don't, Suzie, you're muted. So I don't, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Special Collection Service, again, the acronym. And that sounds to me like like they actually have hardware on site in Syria that is performing collections.
Yeah, that's definitely how I read it, for sure. I mean, because I mentioned that it was in this physical space.
Which makes me wonder, I mean, Syria was never a partner in the Iraq War, for sure. I'm not sure really like what is newsworthy in that. It's interesting, but I don't think it's surprising that they were doing collections.
Yeah, that makes
not
sense.
In Iraq, we're not in the Iraq War timeframe.
Yeah.
What I'd be more interested to know would be in the much later years, and that's how Syria became the next target after Iraq.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was just more interested in the fact of the sort of the continuing trend we're seeing where they're talking about, giving customers information in the quickest, fastest way possible with the least interference almost from analysts. So it raises the question for me about how, if they're just giving customers raw data, they're sort of, but the customers are then becoming the analysts. So I don't know. That's interesting to me.
You mean the first instance reporting?
Yeah, the description of that, and because we've seen similar discussion of like when we analyzed the document that talked about giving customers access to entire databases. It seems like they're sort of cutting out the analyst from that whole process. So
it almost seems to be like a school of thought, like the database reporting is a school of thought, which is customer focused. And then this first instance reporting is a school of thought, which is customer focused. What I see is the NSA is being turned into a funnel. Yeah. So the NSA is obtaining the information and funneling it to the customer. And you're correct that it appears that the customer is being left to do the analysis, or at least given the opportunity to do their own analysis.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we'll see any more angry emails from NSA employees about this. We'll have to.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to read this one?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You have something else to say about that?
Oh, I was just going to say that as you mentioned before, like the fact that we want to focus on any information about these customers, who they are, all that sort of thing. It just makes me more interested to see if any more mention of who they are and what their goals are is brought up, more than what we've already seen. That's all.
Cool.
So it's an analysis conference, call for presentations, unclassified, but we found some really interesting stuff in unclassified documents, so still interesting. It says, prepare to participate in the 3rd annual AP Analysis Conference on the 16th-19th of May 2005. The theme will be an analysis, no boundaries. And furthers the work set out in the first 2 conferences that chart out the course of the future and share information and collaborate. And it says, come influence the discussion on how we perform analysis in a transparent, rigorous, and inclusive manner in an ever-changing, multidisciplinary environment. Hear expectations, success stories, and strategies from colleagues around the globe and prominent officials in the intelligence, business, and private industry. Then it continues. It says, call for briefers and abstracts. Conference planners in NSA's Advanced Analysis Lab are accepting abstracts from potential presenters from now until 1st of March 2005. They will be scheduled in one of the following 3 tracks. And the first is filling new roles and expectations and success stories in performing joint pre-dissemination analysis with the customer, with an analyst across regional hubs worldwide with IAD partners. And it says in parentheses what we're doing with new sets of people. The second track is looking beyond the horizon, methods for recognizing emerging threats and warning customers of their existence, identifying denial and deception, balancing agility with rigor through effective use of metadata analysis, structured thinking, red teaming, etc. And the third track is ensuring smooth navigation. So formalizing analysis doctrine for filling the new roles and connecting the dots the right dots, how we optimize joint training and learning, analytic wargaming, quality control and trust building, creating and sharing models, scenarios, hypotheses, etc. In other words, how we ensure everyone does it better. And then it says, continues on, send us 2-paragraph abstract, blah, blah, blah. There are ways to contact us, a few names redacted. It says go to the website and then send a fax. Yeah, it just that looks like basically the end of the article. But the very last paragraph says the conference is open to cleared NSA civilian and military affiliates, second-party colleagues, and contractors. Conference presentations will be at the top secret or secret 5 eyes or below classification and handling levels. Again, please classify all submissions. So, do you see anything in that one, Suzie?
Yeah, there's a couple of things there for me. So the first is, what the hell is this?
Yeah, no, that was the first thing that caught my eye as I was reading it. I wanted to kind of stop and, point that out, but yeah. It's like they got 3 words that would just sum up everything wrong with the NSA.
No boundaries. I mean, the whole point is they're supposed to have boundaries.
Yeah.
No boundaries. Okay, moving along. Then the second thing was this.
Yes, that, definitely struck me as well.
So they're even bringing contractors to their NSA conferences
that are classified. And they make a point of having people classify their submissions. So, again, private industry is involved in classified material. So,
I think that is the most significant thing. I might make a note of that.
Yeah.
It matches up with, what was that reference in the Global Network document where they're like, but why stop there?
Yeah.
Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, I think I do.
It was in the Battlefield SIGINT. So in that Battlefield SIGINT document, they're like, this is what we're doing in Iraq to aid with our kill chain and killing people. And it's been really wonderful in the war zones, but why stop there? Let's implement it globally. And this is so when I read that no boundaries, I also see no borders.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Because that to me, it's back to that whole global concept.
Definitely. I agree.
So
that concept of globalism like that is really, really disturbing, and beyond some sort of political opinion about it. Yeah, that global empire of intelligence agencies running stuff with, as you said, no boundaries should disturb everyone.
I mean, it's worse than globalism because it's not even just some corporation doing it. It's the military doing it. It's militaristic globalization.
Exactly. That's why it should worry absolutely everyone. Yeah, Totalitarian TV said in chat, and private industry fascism, stalking networks used to create fear and crimes hidden behind security racket scheme.
Wow, spot on. That's really, really, really great.
Just sums up what we were just saying, basically.
I'm just catching up on chat as well.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling up for a second. It's awesome seeing you guys talking like this.
Okay, well, we've done a few documents today already. It's pretty good.
Definitely.
Okay. Next one is from the CIA.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
If you want to go ahead and read it for us. Oh, sorry, my voice is shot today, so I think I want to get you to do a bit of the reading.
Yeah, not a problem at all. I understand. I had some voice issues earlier today. So yeah, this is obviously classified secret, and it says, what would the president want to know on Inauguration Day?
And just to note, you guys, sorry, don't mean to put in there, but
you're fine.
I was just going to point out that this document is literally from the CIA to the entire staff of the Signals Intelligence Directorate at the NSA. So the fact that they even have a communication channel to directly talk to NSA staff members with no middleman. It's not coming through an NSA liaison office. It's not coming through because CIA is a customer of NSA. It's not coming through the NSA liaison to CIA or anything like that. This is coming directly from the CIA to the entire NSA workforce. And yet again, for the 50th time, it smashes the myth that Snowden didn't leak anything on CIA. And that CIA isn't affected by the Snowden leaks. It's a total falsehood, as this document is yet again proof of. But
exactly, definitely. Yeah, and regardless of anything that this document says, I think that fact would be useful when I do a write-up, just to mention again, because, I mean, we've had so much smear-type material come out lately on this subject. So, yeah, I would include this document, just at least a line saying exactly what you just mentioned, Suzie. But anyway, the first paragraph reads, the NSA presence in the DCI Operations Center on the 7th floor of the CIA's old headquarters building at Langley is known as the CSG CIA. On 12-hour shifts, among other duties, the NSA representative selects 20 to 30 SIGINT reports from a continuous stream of about 500 reports, which flow in from NSAW, the RSOCS, and SIGINT partners worldwide. One factor remains paramount in the selection, and that is, what would the president, vice president, and other principals want to know about today? Every day, the Director of Central Intelligence is responsible for providing intelligence briefings to the President, Vice President, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, and several other principals. See, now I'm tripping over my words. The briefings are put together by knowledgeable, poised, hardworking CIA agents assembled on the 7th floor at Langley. Junior analysts, known as the President's Analytics Support Staff, or PAS, arrive around midnight to fuse all source intelligence into professional quality desktop published briefings known as the President's Daily Brief and the Senior Executive Intelligence Brief. Their first stop is to collect the papers from their box on the DCI Ops Center. 3 inches of more photocopies filed over the past 24 hours by Ops Center analysts and watch officers, including the NSAers. Around 3:30, the senior briefers arrive, first checking in with the desk officers in the DCI Operations Center and assemble their briefing packages, which will be dressed in gold embossed leather binders. By 06:30, limousines with drivers take on their passengers to travel to the White House, State Department, the Pentagon, or wherever else the principals may be that day. But today is no ordinary day. It is January 20th, 2005, President Bush's inauguration day. The entire front wall of the DCI Ops Center displays streaming video feeds from CNN, BBC, and the major news networks, showing scenes from the last night's black tie and boots ball, the slushy streets closed for the parade, black limousines and white police cars set against a gray sky, and newscasters in wool coats standing before the steps of the Capitol. Such images are in my mind as I scan incoming reports on topics ranging from the Russian missile launches to the Sunni insurgency, Indonesian tsunami efforts, to unrest in the Middle East. Which near real-time SIGINT report is important enough to warrant interrupting the festivities today? Is one of them yours? As I place each printed report from the NSA into a box labeled POTUS, President of the United States, I think of the dedicated work and consistency of our chase for the intelligence that makes a difference. The author is a Greek language intern on a 90-day PCS tour to CSG CIA. And that's the end of the document, it looks like.
Okay, so it's actually one step further. It's NSA posted on site at CIA, working with them on the most significant activity of the CIA in terms of what their service to the administration, which is to work on the president's daily briefing. So that's how close the CIA-NSA relationship is. It's not just even that NSA is supplying SIGINT for CIA operations. NSA analysts are literally sitting alongside CIA staff at the very floor and building at which they are presenting or they are preparing the president's daily briefs. So that's how intimate the relationship is between the two organizations. The other thing there is that the gold embossed folders and the limousines arriving to pick them up, and they're like, what the hell, like. And that really spoke to me about the entitlement of I mean, this is military. These are like generals. Why do they need to be picked up in a limousine?
Yeah, really. I noticed that for sure. And like, why, and not only why do they need to be picked up in a limousine, but why does this person feel the need to point that out? What is it that he's trying to get? Yeah.
Why does their daily briefing to the president need to be in a gold embossed folder? Like, what kind of ostentatious crap is this? That's like the kind of like Saddam Hussein behavior of like living in the palace and everything being gold and blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's the behavior of like a dictator or an oligarch or whatever. Like, these are military guys. They're supposed to be like rough and tumble and down to earth and realists and blah, blah, blah. Why do they have to be ferried in limousines every morning? And why do they have to carry gold embossed folders? Like, the whole thing seems ostentatious and frivolous.
I agree. I think because, from what we've seen or from what I understand of what we've been looking at, I would have very strong, very huge qualms with much of what they do. So it replaces a justification for what they're doing, in my opinion. It says, oh, don't look at what we're doing, killing innocent civilians. Look at the gold embossed leather stuff in the limousine, because that's nice. Literally, it deflects.
Is the quality
Yeah.
of your intelligence improved by having it in a gold embossed folder?
Well, from what they're saying, apparently, yeah, it means that whoever put the information into that gold embossed folder must have been correct in doing so. It must be the absolute best. So it's a total distraction.
It might justify the fact that they spent billions of dollars on the intelligence, which is routinely turns out to be crap.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it's like it's deflecting from that and from the fact that they're doing horrible things. I think all of that, it replaces them having to actually argue for what they do, which they really couldn't do. So
okay, Barbara, I'm going to ignore your second to last comment, amusing as it is, and read your most recent one. Barbara says it is testosterone at its highest form. I think that's definitely true. Remember George W. Bush being sent back Saddam's personal handgun or whatever and mounting it on the wall like a fucking hunting trophy. I think this is very much the mentality of these people.
Definitely.
I mean, who needs mementos of their vanquished foes on their walls? What kind of personality gets off on looking at that every single time they walk past it?
Probably a psychopath. I could think of one person in particular with the last name Clinton that probably would also do the same thing.
You're right. That's exactly the type of thing that Clinton would like. And I mean, that's why she was cackling her head off about Gaddafi being incredibly brutally murdered.
Exactly.
You're right. So only a psychopath would take pleasure in collecting trophies of. I mean, that's serial killer stuff. Serial killers collecting mementos off their victims. It's very, very similar. But back to the limousines and gold embossed folders. If you ask the average American, should these military generals be ferried in limousines with gold embossed folders? Come on now, people are starving on the streets. Surely you can find a better way to spend the money.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too because a lot of Republicans might consider themselves very, very pro-military, but also very pro-small government. So it's interesting to see people that would usually align with maybe the right, which small government, then having this weird over expenditure. It just shows the hypocrisy of the whole thing, in my opinion.
And also that's precisely the type of behavior that they criticize dictators for.
Exactly. Very true.
They will say, that they're robbing the public purse and that they are ostentatious and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then you see that these guys are exactly the same breed.
Definitely. Absolutely. All we're missing right here is a description of goose stepping. That's all.
Okay, let's move on. So actually, I'm going to add that to my notes. Awesome. Limousines and gold embossed folders. And as you say, that they make a point of it. It's and to their own staff, it's kind of oh, look how important and, how prestigious. Look how prestigious it is to be involved in the presidential daily briefing.
Yeah, so it's almost if you become the best NSA or CIA analyst ever, then maybe you too can be ferried in a limousine. Maybe you too can write things that end up in a gold embossed leather whatever folder, I don't know, but yeah. I mean, I would think that the importance there should have been, really good intelligence being selected to go to the president and et cetera in order to actually help secure Americans or whoever. But, instead it's the dressing that they're focusing on.
That's a really good point, because if we just quickly go back and look at the document again, Look at the title of the document.
Yeah.
The title of the document, what would the president want to know on Inauguration Day? But what's in it? Basically, nothing. It says, what would the president and vice president and other principals want to know about today? And then the answer is, some people work in the 7th floor at Langley. They come in at midnight. They put information in a gold embossed folder, assemble the briefing package. I mean, it doesn't answer the question that the article poses. Then they go to do it, and now it's the inauguration day, and we're watching CNN and BBC at work, and there are newscasters and Wilco standing on the steps of the Capitol, and we're doing Indonesian tsunami relief. Like, they have not even answered the question. Like, twice they asked the question, what would the president want to know? But they don't answer it.
Yeah.
They have no meaningful input into what the president would actually want to know.
Exactly.
Trump doesn't read them anyway, says Barbara.
Well, then we have to focus on the people that do read the briefings, Barbara.
Does Trump read? Classic. Totally classic. Crocodile says the president would like to hear bullshit.
Barbara says he doesn't. Well, he can read enough to post on Twitter. We know that much.
He can read 200 and whatever, 80 characters. Okay, moving along. Wow, we got through the first like 8 already. Okay. Okay, we'll aim for 10 more and then I'm going to wrap it up. I've got to keep it short tonight, but here we go.
Hopefully, I hate to say hopefully we won't find anything mind-blowing, but we'll just see how it goes.
I think we can do better than gold embossed folders and limousines.
Yeah. Well, that one was fun to laugh about, though.
Yeah. Okay, go for it, Elizabeth.
Oh, okay. On 6th of December, it's titled Journey Completed, Overhead Constellation Ops Centralized at Denver. It's from Redacted to Chief Office of Overhead, and it's subtitled New Facility Opens, Steering Group Wraps Up Work. The first paragraph is top secret, and it says on 6th of December 2004, senior representatives from NSA, NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, and mission partners convened in Denver to celebrate the completion of a 5-year effort to centralize overhead mission planning and execution at the site. The occasion was marked by a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new overhead operations control center named Glass House, and by the final meeting of the IOSA Senior Steering Group that led the centralization effort. The next paragraph is secret. It says, since 1999, NSA and NRO have been working on a ground-merged architecture for the Overhead Collection Management Center and the high-altitude components of the SIGINT mission ground stations. GMA allows the high-altitude satellites to interoperate across missions and field sites. As part of this endeavor, NSA, NRO, and our mission partners agreed to centralize all processors, and constellation mission planning and execution capabilities at the ground stations. And then the next one is top secret. It says at this December meeting, SSG principals from NSA, NRO, and the mission partners were joined by Major Gen James Armour, NRO's Director of Signals Intelligence Systems Acquisition and Operations Directorate, and MG Richard Quirk, NSA Signals Intelligence Director, along with 40 others in Denver and via telephone conference at NSA, NRO, and overseas field sites. And then it says that NSA, NRO, and mission partners formally opened the new IOSA Global Glasshouse Operations Control Center with a formal ribbon-cutting ceremony. And it says it's secret. It says to start the day's events, MG Quirk and Major General Armour cut the ceremonial ribbon in the glass house with assistance of mission partners. The opening of the new Operations Control Center marked the centralization of overhead mission management. I feel like we've already been through this. including mission planning, scheduling and assessment, and resource management, and the integration of more than 100 personnel in Denver, including civilians from NSA, NRO mission partners, U.S. military personnel, and contractors. Following an informative tour of the glass house led by Major Redacted, one of the 5 IOSA mission directors, the SSG briefing began with opening remarks from Redacted, commander of the Denver site. Next, Redacted thanked blah, blah, blah for the introduction and warm welcome to Denver. Before starting the agenda, the members reviewed the accomplishments of the last 5 years, discussed future directions. Following the SSG, everyone moved to the Denver Mission Planning Vault for a cake cutting ceremony and refreshments. And that looks like the end of the article. Post file document. I'm just going to keep babbling until Suzie says something.
I'm right here with you.
Okay. I didn't notice anything huge in that, but if I may have missed something, so let me know if I did.
For me, the word that stuck out was centralization.
Yeah, definitely. True.
This part here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they go on and on about the global network, like they're distributing around the world, but actually they're centralizing.
Yeah. Almost dropped stuff. Sorry.
That's all right.
Things falling everywhere.
But still, I think it's only contextual, so we'll move on. Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, very interesting. NSA and Turkey cooperate on wagtail collection. And it says the wagtail PCM collection system is being sold in Turkey, and analysts will be able to task Syrian numbers. That sounds very, very promising. And it looks like it's pretty much all secret. It says the Technical Liaison Office, TLO, in Turkey has been approved for and is finalizing a new pulse code modulation collection system called Wagtail for its Turkish military partners. The system will be installed at a Turkish base where the Turks will collect a Syrian PCM that contains a number of channels of high interest to both the US and Turkey. The Wagtail system is currently being assembled and integrated at the European Technical Center in Germany, and once completed, will be staged at the Turkish headquarters facility for testing and extensive training of the operators. Support for the training is being provided by both our National Cryptologic School resources at Fort Meade and by NSA contractors. So what's in it for us, you might ask? During a survey of this PCM, these channels were found to contain faxes and calls from Syrian intelligence, the Ansar al-Islam terrorist organization, several Iraqi and Syrian Mujahideen numbers, and even the Sai al-Shab royal palace. Using the analytical tools at Wagtail Promises, NSA analysts hope to link these known numbers to previously unknown sources of foreign intelligence, service, and terrorist-related intelligence. The collection system will be forwarded back to the Turkish HQ and to the TLO for the NSA analyst access, and the system can be tasked for numbers of interest from both locations. The implementation of this system serves as an excellent example of an all-hands effort that enhances and bodes well for the future of the United States' oldest third-party partnership. And that looks like the end of the file.
Okay, I find that significant for a number of reasons. So first of all, in a previous document that we studied, the NSA was talking about how the US should not support Turkey's application for EU membership, which Turkey wanted very, very badly to be an EU member.
Yeah, my colleague William Craddock has done a really long article on Turkey, and he's noticed some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the US privately is against Turkey, but where it suits them to use Turkey to gain or to access intelligence, then they are doing so.
Exactly.
The document that said that they shouldn't support Turkey's EU application was prior, like chronologically prior to this. So they're working with them, but they don't support them. They are prepared to give intelligence to them as well as receive intelligence from them. The other thing that I find interesting here is that they were monitoring the terrorist groups who in subsequent years they're arming and funding.
Very true.
in the Syrian insurgency.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree.
And
That's very significant.
So, what's the best way to, the best synopsis for this? It's just showing the hypocrisy of the relationship.
Definitely.
They'll secretly oppose them, but they'll work with them, and they'll monitor groups who eventually they will fund and arm.
So it's basically that whole the issue of basically sort of like funding two sides and profiting as long as the bullets keep flying, you know?
Bang on. Exactly. It also shows the close relationship between US and Turkish intelligence, which I think would be significant to Judith Poe, Serena Shim's mother, because that is something that she has long believed, is that the US government, that she believes that an American journalist could not have been assassinated in Turkey without the knowledge or without the US government being notified at some level.
Interesting.
Aware of it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Obviously.
And then the US State Department refused to even acknowledge Serena Shim, and they refused any diplomatic support to her family in retrieving her body or any of the arrangements around that.
Yeah, that story is absolutely horrifying. It's a really awful story.
Really horrifying. And I think it was only a month ago or 2 months ago that actually a New Zealand journalist was mysteriously thrown from the top of a building in Turkey. So that's yet another dead journalist in Turkey. So this showing this close relationship between the US and Turkish intelligence would be significant.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think that definitely deserves a paragraph somewhere, for sure.
Yeah, I've made a note about it. What has chat got to say about this?
Kathy B said Mueller was in there too way back.
Yeah, Krakatoa has just made the connection between the EU being the top economic threat, is what the NSA said about it in their strategic planning. So yeah, you're correct, Krakatoa, that them not wanting Turkey to join the EU was as much about undermining the EU as it was about harming Turkey. Definitely.
Definitely.
Okay, next document. Go for it, Elizabeth.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I thought maybe you were going to read this time. Team reestablishes crucial collection in Iraq. And it's the first paragraph is top secret, and it says the volume of collection normally seen on GSM links from Fallujah and northern Baghdad took a dramatic drop in late October due to changes in the cellular network. With the impending Operation Phantom Fury, which is the US military's efforts against Fallujah, the lack of collection from these links was a severe gap in intelligence for the forces on the ground. Action had to be quick and decisive. In response to this loss, a multi-organizational team was formed consisting of personnel from SCS, CIA, and Office of Target Reconnaissance and Survey, OTRS, or Musketeer, with the requirement to locate, identify, and exploit the lost GSM infrastructure links. A QRC microwave survey and collection system was deployed to Camp Victory in Baghdad to reacquire the lost links and determine a suitable position to relay the links of interest back to the SCS Next, which is called Koala House, for processing and dissemination. Within a 2-week period, the team successfully surveyed, relayed, and restored collection of the lost GSM links. Now we've got a lot of redactions. The next paragraph is secret, and it says the team staged, tested, and successfully deployed redacted with equipment for redacted collection within several days of notification. Then an entire sentence looks like it's redacted. Then it goes on to say that from 28th of October to 19th of November, the team surveyed a number of positions redacted. The primary area of focus was along the northern perimeter wall with the closest proximity to redacted links for Fallujah. The team quickly identified all signals redacted and determined redacted, potential access redacted for redacted collection. Then a giant, looks like multiple sentences are redacted in the next paragraph that is top secret. And then it continues, it says, because Operation Phantom Fury was looming on the horizon, a temporary collection strategy to collect and process redacted. The redacted link was employed, redacted, and then it says annotated panda on the graphic. A relay path to Koala House redacted was quickly identified and established. This enabled collected Fallujah GSM communications to be relayed redacted for the transcription and reporting. And then it says, with a temporary solution in place and Phantom Fury in full swing, the team set about constructing the collection and relay point for the entire MSC link. However, the team found that unforeseen atmospherics caused significant signal degradation, making it impossible to collect the desired MSC links from one location. Thus, a new location, annotated Grizzly on the graphic, was found for part of the collection. The collection from Grizzly, coupled with the collection from Panda, covered the majority of the MSC links. The exceptional cross-organizational teaming allowed SIGINT to be a major contributor to Operation Phantom Fury. Oh, what do you make of that, Suzie?
So I think that those reductions are probably about technology on which they are still reliant.
Yeah.
And I think the reductions about the physical locations that they were targeting from are probably still collection points to this day in Iraq. That's
what I understood from it, yeah.
So in which case they would be legitimate reductions in terms of protecting troops on the ground.
Absolutely, yeah. And, knowing the location of those currently in use signals pickup points, that's not the type of information that we're particularly interested in anyway. We're more interested in, what they're picking up signals means, not specifically where it's placed, you know what I'm saying?
Totally. From my perspective, I'm more interested in the internal operations of the NSA than necessarily external operations.
Yeah, like where a specific signal is picked up, I don't really care about. But what I care about is what they're doing with it, or who they're monitoring, that type of thing. But
cool. Okay, next one. Sorry, I feel like if I read the documents that like within one paragraph, I'm going to be croaking again. So that's why I'm getting.
No, you're fine.
Sorry about that.
No problem at all. I'm just used to kind of going back and forth. So I keep thinking, all right, no, Susie's going to pick this one up. And then it's totally fine. I'll just remember from now on.
Yeah, it's the central heating in here. It's so dry that as soon as I start talking for any significant period of time, my throat just dries out entirely. So
that sucks. So no problem. Okay, so this one is Accelerating Pedal 1 of Transformation 2.0. Oh, good Lord, we've seen a lot about this subject. Says it's from MG Quirk, USA Signals Intelligence Director, et cetera, and Dan Wolf, Information Assurance Director. Is that in any way significant, Suzie, before I read the rest of this, or?
No, I don't think so. It's just IAD.
Okay, cool. This is an important and exciting moment in our history. NSA is providing an unprecedented variety of offensive and defensive services seamlessly to our customers and national security partners. The global convergence of information networks and technologies, coupled with the compelling need to share information broadly, challenge us to do even better. Our vision is to live on the net always, shape it sometimes, own the net as needed, and protect the net from those who wish to do our nation harm. This calls for increasing the jointness of our operations in many ways. I think that sentence is noteworthy in and of itself. The one in quotation marks, yeah. Own it and protect it, yeah, from maybe activists and peaceful protesters. Anyway, on 20th of January, during another series of SID and IAD offsites, we discussed the NSA and CSS landscape. We chartered a small team of leaders to think holistically about NSA functions and to develop creative options for rapid movement towards a much more joint operating posture. We expected the team to report out quickly and will then engage broadly within our organizations to identify the best way forward in the interest of the agency and our customers. And then it says the SID and IAD team's output will move us forward to develop the best approach to accomplishing all of NSA's critical mission functions. We will map near and long-term strategies to solidify NSA's future as a key member of the US intelligence and defense communities. So yeah, no, that sentence in quotation marks is the other thing that really stuck out to me as useful to quote in an article. I mean, I would absolutely use that.
Once again, it's back to the general attitudes, right? Same thing as we see time and time again with the global network. The word shape is very interesting to me. Shape it sometimes. How precisely do they shape it? And that to me sounds like harkening back to the document where they talked about wanting to influence the direction of the development of various technologies. When they talk about shaping the net, it sounds like they have a finger in the pie of the future of the internet.
At least I think they do. I mean, yeah, that's their self-concept for sure.
To me, shape the internet means they're talking about network architecture.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're wanting to shape the network architecture, then they really are interfering in the very structure of the internet and the development of the internet.
And I think that's really significant, or at least that's relatively new to me. I mean, I know that I had known that the NSA, had an extremely wide net of information that they were collecting. I knew about the collections, but I didn't know that they were actually involved in the architecture of the internet itself. I think that's noteworthy, unless everyone else already knew that. And I just somehow missed it.
I think it's covert. I don't think it's overt at all.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at all the people who we call like the fathers of the internet, the Tim Berners-Lees and even the John Perry Barlows and stuff, these are all like information anarchists. These are like people who believe like in freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. And this is the opposite of that. This is the control of it. This
very
is
much.
Yeah, this is antithetical to the principles, and I've been having a bit of a paradigm shift myself, where I think that a lot of the language around the promise of the internet and what we are sold by the information activism community may well just be a veneer. Because I suspect that, because the two things sit in diametric opposition to each other. On one side, we have the internet freedom, internet speech, not crypto anarchist, but information anarchist movement, the John Perry Barlows, the Tim Berners-Lees, the good intentions, like the good intentions. On the other side, we have the fact that we know that the military it was originally a military network, that it has been funded and developed by the military, that the military is pouring billions of dollars into creating this control mechanism. So it seems like what it's promoted as is not what it actually is. And there's this conflict between the two things.
It's a major, major point. And I think it's one that definitely needs to be made, and people need to understand that dichotomy.
I almost feel like the promotion of the feel-good stuff about the internet disarms us.
Yeah.
Not just disarms us. No, it's not disempowers us. It's like a sleight of hand.
Yeah, it's like gaslighting.
It's like sleight of hand. I wouldn't call it gaslighting. Gaslighting would be if they say, "Aha, we never promised you that. We never told you that."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not the case, but it's like sleight of hand. It's like while we are focusing on the idealistic vision of the internet, we are not confronting the realistic situation with the internet.
The nuts and bolts, yeah. That makes sense.
It's like, I don't know, the lipstick on the pig or something. Like it's like what lies beneath the surface is not what's being promoted.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's part of the manipulation process. It's like creating the fantasy that you believe in order to create in order to make the cognitive dissonance not something that you confront. You have to have a fantasy that you believe in, just like, Democrats voting for Hillary Clinton had to believe in the fantasy that was created around her that wasn't the reality. No, that's the same thing I see going on with what you're talking about.
I mean, look, I'm looking right now at my Twitter timeline, and I'll share it, and you guys just have a look at what's at the top of my Twitter timeline right this moment, okay? Anonymous Video, who's a very cool account. I know them, and I've known them for years. They're amazing. And look at what this is. Tor guide, freedom and privacy online. Tor is an invaluable tool for protecting online freedom and guarding against state surveillance and censorship. We know from reading the Chelsea Manning documents that specifically it was stated in her oral testimony at her court-martial hearing. We know that Tor is an integral part of the NSA software kill chain. So this means that the traffic that you generate on the Tor network masks kill traffic from the military. So this is why Tor needed to grow into the public space, because they needed Tor traffic to not only be military kill chain traffic that would be of high interest to other intelligence agencies, other military services. They dilute the traffic pool by having as many different types of users as possible use it, but then they turn around and target anyone who uses the Tor network as well. So the military is using the public to protect itself, and at the same time targeting the public who had enough of an interest in privacy or security to want to use Tor in the first place. Very
important point.
Yet, and please understand, I'm not saying don't use Tor, because Tor is a lifesaver for a lot of people, but it's also really dangerous. And not only is it dangerous, it's tainted. When you are using Tor, you are helping to disguise, to mask, to dilute the kill traffic in war zones. And that is something that is never, ever, ever made clear. So by the privacy activist community, and this is my community. I've been working with these people for years. They have good intentions, good hearts, but they're sold this propaganda. And the propaganda is, it's all about privacy and security and protecting us. But actually what we're doing is protecting the military. Because if no one was using Tor, then it would be known that 100% of the Tor traffic was operational information of the military. So if you go to Tor's website, Tor says like law enforcement uses this product. They do not say the NSA and CIA use this product to prosecute kill and capture and kill operations in Iraq and in Afghanistan and in other war zones. The encryption and the network encryption, I assume, I don't know this part yet, but I assume, of the drones is probably running through Tor. So people don't understand really what they're dealing with or what they're a part of.
Yeah.
And yet it's sold to them. It's sold to them as being this great thing, this wonderful thing for freedom and for security and for blah, 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 blah. I think that's personally, I think it's pretty significant. So like I said, I'm not saying don't use Tor, but be aware of what it is.
Yeah.
Be aware of what it is. And also, as I've made the point before in my writing, and as I believe is also pertinent, yes, they will target you for being a Tor user, but you're already targeted by mass surveillance.
Yeah, no,
so
that's how
if you don't use Tor, you are in the dragnet anyway. They already have your communications anyway, and thanks to mass surveillance. If you do use Tor, then you are subjected to targeted civilians. So it's a like no escape situation in that regard.
Yeah, total catch-22 for everyone, definitely.
Completely. But I've started to, this is a recent thing for me to really cotton on to like some of the marketing. This is what it is. It's marketing. When you go to the Tor website and they say, oh, well, you know, some local police officers use it for doing web searches. Like this marketing. It's pure and simple marketing. And when you see it's about privacy and freedom and to blah, 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 it is also marketing. Yes, individuals use it for those reasons, but that's not why it was developed. The US Navy developed Tor and funded Tor, and they did not do it so that individual users could have privacy and security. They did it for the support of military operations. And to this day, it's being used in support of military operations.
Yeah, that deserves an entire article in itself that you should write because of your background with tech and your understanding of how that works. I mean, I think that's worth a definite discussion in and of itself, for sure.
The hard thing is that there's no solution to it. So like the solution isn't don't use Tor, and the solution isn't do use Tor, but at least be informed about what it really is, what it's been used for.
Well, I think that would be literally the thesis of an article about it would be like, I'm not here to tell you to use it or not. And there's no answer. There's no right option here, but just you need to be aware of what the reality is.
I feel like I don't want to like deter people, like, because I mean, like information activism is really important and privacy activism is really important. These are things that people should be caring about and should be spending their time on. But I just also see how the narratives of that type of activism are slapped on top of things that are actually like evil.
Definitely. I agree.
And then sold to us, right? So every person who's running around like promoting, or not just promoting Tor, but regurgitating those specific marketing lines is literally like doing the job of the government that's funding people to do that in the first place.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's important to point out, whether it's in an article or something else, or just the discussion we're having, just to raise awareness of that fact and not tell people to make decisions on how to use it one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think pointing out a fact is not the same thing as telling you what to do about it. And yeah.
Cockatoo just said, oh my God, so if real activists went silent for a day on Tor, what would be left would be most interesting to see. I think it would be a massive, massive spanner in the works for them if for a very short period of time, absolutely all civilian traffic on Tor stopped. I think that would be extremely, just from an analytical perspective, just as a like project, right? Because you're correct. What you'd be left with is a whole bunch of law enforcement and military operational traffic, network traffic, and not very much else. And a bunch of spy agencies too who also use it. Definitely. And that also is why they were so keen on controlling the backbones of the Tor network. It was why, in my opinion, it's why Jacob Appelbaum's Tor bridge server was taken out. It's why the entire board of Tor was taken out and replaced. This was what they were really going after. So Jacob Appelbaum's Tor bridge server, I think it was one of 7 of Tor bridges in the network. It was a confirmed NSA target in the Snowden files, actually. They confirmed, the files confirmed that Jacob Appelbaum's server was an NSA target. So by taking him out of the equation as a Tor admin, gave them more control over the entire network itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes really unfortunate logical sense.
Yeah, and so if you ignore the screaming cries of Jacob Appelbaum as a serial rapist, and you look at what was done other than firing and vilifying him, what was done was the entire board of tour was rolled. The ex-EFF legal director, Shari Steele, was installed as the not chief executive, what is it, executive director at Tour Project. Her husband is a self-admitted known NSA contractor. And the first thing that they did was go after the infrastructure, target and remove Jake's tour bridge. That bridge is what they wanted. Yeah. It's like a pillar of the network, and they smashed the pillar down. And that was what they were after. They weren't just trying to destroy his reputation. That was kind of like a bonus for them. Like, it was a bonus that he would no longer be able to get on stages and speak about things that are happening with, wow, RSFO.
Yeah,
wow. I'm just reading what's being said there.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, them being able to stop him speaking on stages and supporting targets and doing the things that he was doing was like a bonus. What they really wanted, it was a coup. It was a literal coup, not just of the leadership at Tor, but it was an appropriation of the infrastructure. And then if you look at, I'm not going to like make any personal accusations here, but if you look at who got his job after the fact, and then if you look at who became the admin of the Tor bridge after the fact, because a new Tor bridge was established, and you look at who it was that established that bridge, it tells the true story about what happened to Jake.
Are you going to write about it at some point, Suzie?
Dude, I gave that story 3.5 weeks of my life in 2016 and damn near got myself excommunicated from the Berlin community for doing so.
No, I've read a couple of those.
Funnily enough, you know, this is actually really amusing to me. Funnily enough, all of the best people, the best, most respected top people in the Berlin community loved me and stood by me. But the seething masses in Berlin, who were really the target of the info op against Jake, were just so shocked that I didn't fall into line and that I didn't uphold the narrative. You know, I was not supposed to rebel against the social pressure. Like, the social pressure was supposed to shame everybody or really scare everybody into supporting the narratives against Jake. It was like, well, everybody else is saying he's a rapist, therefore I must believe he's a rapist. And if I don't believe he's a rapist, what will my friends say about me? What will my friends think about me? You know, like there's this real, it's funny because the community in Berlin really prides themselves on being like strong individuals and anti-establishment. But something I found there is that they actually there's a lot of conformity. It's like people who go out of their way to display their differences, like the pink hair and the I did the same thing when I was a teenager. Like, when I was a teenager, I had like whatever black lipstick and like all the whatever manifestation. Yeah. Look at me, I'm so individual, I'm so out there, I'm so punk, I'm so blah blah blah. But they are the most obsessed with conforming with their peer groups and having the approval of their peer group. So I think I was lucky that I was a bit older and less, I mean, I had a different domestic situation. I'm a mother. I'm not dependent in my physical space on my social circle in that way. I have a bit more intellectual independence. My opinions come from mega hours of research rather than from what people tell me. I don't just repeat, because 3 of my friends tell me Jake's a rapist, I'm not going to believe Jake's a rapist. But if I study and I discover that Jake's a rapist, then I believe Jake is a rapist. And this is the difference. So it was, and also I've got to say, a huge thank you to the spies that persecuted the hell out of me and smeared the hell out of me, because having gone through so much defamation in New Zealand and so many attempts to destroy like all my relationships, in the activism community as well as personally, meant that I was like emotionally insulated from any fear of what people would think about me in Berlin
Yeah.
for standing up for Jake and for doing research. So before I wrote, I mean, this the other misconception is I didn't just like go, okay, I think Jake's not a rapist, so I'm going to write these articles. I put unbelievable amounts of hours into researching all of the different aspects. And that was when I started to discover all of these anomalies and all of these things that did not support the narrative that was being circulated. And so that was why I spoke up and why I did that work.
Yeah. It's extremely important that you did. And you wrote an amazing series of articles. And anybody who hasn't read those should definitely go read them. They're insanely important and awesomely written. So,
yeah, I really, it was a journey writing them. And in that final part, the part 3, there's actually 4 articles, but in the one labeled part 3, which is the biggest, longest, and massivest one, it's like 9,000 words or something. It's really interesting because all the facts converged, and then it's like I managed to peel back the layers of all of these different accusers and all the different things that were being said about him, and got right to that very root of the issue. And that core, when you read it at the end, the conclusion is so intuitive, because it's like when you weed away all of the crap, you know what I mean? You finally get to the root of the issue, and that's exactly what we did. So I think it was quite a unique article in that sense. It was like, it really solved the riddle. It solved the riddle of why and how this happened.
And it's actually really awesome, as you're saying, that, you know, the abuses of intelligence agencies actually forged you into somebody that would be able to be motivated to actually go and seek that out. You know, it's like
it made you caring. I'm so used to any relationship I form being interfered with, or anyone that supports me, you know, being interfered with, and so used to my name being and my reputation being smeared that I had nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. So in that sense, it's like they prepared me. All the shit.
That's what I mean. It's
It prepared me to take the hate, and I mean, it took a lot of hate, but I was able to like brush it off my shoulder and keep moving, because that's what I've already been conditioned to do. So
I definitely think that most people would not react by getting stronger. They'd probably fall apart. I would probably be one of those people. So I think that's awesome. And I'm really glad that, you know.
Indignation is the key.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad. I'm really glad that.
Indignation is the key, honestly. Like, don't get sad, get pissed off, and then get even. Like, and I don't mean that in a malicious way. I'm not going after these people individually. I'm not trying to punish them or anything, but the evil things they do are so self-evident, you know. It's it just convinces me over and over again, every nasty thing that they do, it convinces me these people, there's something wrong with them, and there's something right in us standing up to them. So
definitely, I think it's a great takeaway from that.
Cockatoo, if you go to archive.org, I'm pretty sure there will definitely be hundreds of impressions of those articles. I think the Indicter has part 1 and part 2, but it hasn't got the other 2 articles. And I think the best one for you guys to read, rather, because the entire series is something like 21,000 words, like it's literally like a short book. But part 3 has a recap of each of the previous pieces. So if you want to spend some time in looking into my investigation into Jake Gate, I would suggest that you just go and read part 3 and skip the earlier stuff. Part 1 was just, I did a linguistic analysis of the rape stories and showed the whopping great inconsistencies between actual rape testimony and the manufactured tripe that was shoved up on that website. And then in part 2, I talked about the fact that WikiLeaks was the real target. Jake's affiliation with WikiLeaks, his work with WikiLeaks, Jake being targeted by the FBI, Jake's Tor bridge server being an NSA target, my personal experience of being targeted when I was circulating work by Jake and supporting Jake's work in New Zealand, and looked into some of the other people who are on the fringes and being involved in targeting Jake. But then part 3 was where I really peeled back the layers of bullshit, like one by one, of all the different accusations, and got down to the core of it was the whodunit article. And by the end, there was an actual whodunit. And that's well worth reading. And that also covers off all of the Tor stuff in part 3. I'm surprised I can even still remember this, since it's like now nearly 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. All the Tor stuff's in there. The Tor working with the New York Times to do an exclusive rape findings article, and like who does an exclusive deal with a mainstream media publisher about the findings of an internal rape investigation? Like, the whole thing was just absolutely batshit crazy.
Definitely.
And everything that happened in terms of the board being rolled, and the coup at Tor. So that, I think part 3 was definitely the strongest part. Like, part 1, I had sneaking suspicion something was wrong, and part 2, I was like starting to get to the core of the issue, but by part 3, I actually nailed it, totally nailed it. And I'm not saying that to sing my own praises at all, but I'm saying that because the subject matter is so important and significant. It was literally a man's life, but it wasn't just a man's life. It wasn't just Jake's life. It was, Jake was traveling around the world. This is what he did. Not just speaking on stages. He was traveling around the world and finding targets of the intelligence agencies, and then supporting them, giving them technical support, analyzing their hardware, isolating their systems, the malware that had been installed on their devices, and then getting up on stages and telling the whole world, these are the methodologies that are in use. Here's this example of this target and that target and the other target. He was working with Cage in the UK, who are the ex-Guantanamo Bay detainees. He was working with WikiLeaks. Like, he was working on the most significant, most high-profile, most high-risk things in the world. And people who try to tell you, oh, that's irrelevant to the situation. No, it is not fucking irrelevant. Yeah. It is not irrelevant when you're an NSA target and an FBI target, and when you're supporting other NSA targets and FBI targets. That is highly relevant. Highly relevant. Agreed. And I think it's a big shame that so much of the community allowed themselves to just watch a pillar fall without saying a word. I think it's actually really shameful. Not only is it shameful, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous because it empowers the agencies to just run that shit over and over again. Pick a new target, run the same playbook.
Exactly.
And I wasn't prepared to watch that happen and say nothing.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, it did smell to high heaven. RSFO. I completely agree with you. Where are we at? 6 a.m. Do you want to wrap up on that note?
Sure, that would actually be okay with me. I've got a bit of a sore shoulder developing at the moment, so that would be totally fine.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, so no, it's not a problem.
Oh, we did that. Pillar 1 of Transformation 2.0. So next time we are up to, there's something about National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, which is that.
Yeah, I think I saw that on the list. That looked really interesting.
Yeah, we'll start with that one next stream.
That would be a good one to start on. I think we made pretty decent progress today.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. Pretty good. So with all my websites down, there is no way to donate to me, which kind of sucks. So just to give you a little spiel about that. Like last week, 3 people very generously donated to me through my website. And 100% of that I gave straight to my asylum attorney here in Russia, who is the only reason that I still have a country to live in, literally. It is the only thing protecting me here. And I straight away on the back of that, all of my websites went down. I actually, to be honest with you, I texted him through Signal, and I said, when I sent him the donations, and I said, any donations I get, I'm just sending to you 100% from my website towards my legal expenses. And then all of my websites went down. So now people cannot donate to me or help me with my legal expenses. So until I can work out why, for the 50 millionth time, my hosting company has taken all of my domains down. So presently, the only way to actually help me is to donate Bitcoin to my Bitcoin address, or to ask me for a Bitcoin Cash address. But other than that, I am screwed. So I'm sure the bad guys will love to hear that. However, I'm not going to stop working no matter what. So it's just a bit too bad for them that even taking my websites down is not going to stop me.
From now on, you just have to post the entire website, all of them, to Steam it and just get it out that way.
Pretty much. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, another is that the drafts of the big article I'm doing about Julian were also in one of the domains that was taken down.
Do you have a copy of the draft?
It's not a big deal because I made a point of not putting any of the meat in there.
Mm.
That's something they don't know. I didn't put any of the meat in there whatsoever. It's just framework. It's just framework.
Go ahead.
So that's not going to stop me. And historically, whenever they've screwed with one of my articles, I have written something 10 times stronger and 10 times better. And what I had written in there was pretty mild so far. So
yeah,
I don't consider that to be much of a loss. If anything, they'll end up having done me a favor. But I will follow up with my hosting company and try and get my domains back up. But I just wanted to let you guys know that, because I know that at least one person here, well, she's not here tonight, but one of the people from our community had donated to me in the last week. I wanted to let them know that yes, I did I paid that straight to my lawyer, and that unfortunately they won't be able to do that again this week.
Okay.
But thank you for the moral support, you guys. Even it's not just about financial support. Thank you for the moral support, and thank you for circulating our work so voraciously on social media.
Absolutely. And also that's what you're speaking about right now is exactly the reason that I wrote that article about Steam it being so important and like the way of the future. And I think a lot of people that read it and then responded negatively were misreading me as somehow saying, oh, look, we can get rich, or like being in favor of the currency itself. And as I said in the first line of the article, I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. You know, it's not my area. But the valuable, like the precious thing to me about Steam is the fact that the work is preserved, and you know that it can't be taken down in that same way. That's why I love it so much, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it, is because it literally saves your work from exactly what you're talking about. So
totally. Did you see that interview I did with Ben Lee this week?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
People were saying, oh, Steam it's a pyramid scheme and it just is going to
exactly,
which isn't true. But I said, well, so what if it is? Because Facebook already just enriches a few people at the top.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Steam it provides indelible impressions of our posts immediately, and it's censorship free. So even if the rest of the model was like Facebook, which it isn't, then we're still better off than using Facebook. So like when you look at it pragmatically, I think it's like win-win.
Yeah, and I mean, what I responded to, the way I responded to the commenters was basically like putting the currency issue completely aside, pretending that there was no financial gain whatsoever. It would still be of massive value to independent media, especially like what you're doing, like what Disobedient media does. And the independent media that really makes a difference and that says really important things are the ones that have to worry about censorship, because they are censored constantly. So that's why to the really legit independent journalists, Steam it is invaluable for getting currency for a second. So anyway, that's my mini rant. But
I totally agree. Okay, thank you guys so much. We'll wrap it up now, and we will see you on Tuesday.
You guys are awesome.
You guys.
Thank you all. And I haven't been able to keep up with all of chat, but I was so happy to see you guys talking. And yeah, just thank you all for sticking with us and watching and interacting with us, because we really, truly do appreciate all of you and your contributions to this little community that, as Suzie called it, that we have going. So thank you.
Night, guys.
Bye. See you next time.